DJ Woo, DJ Woo.
All right. We are live and direct. We are here. What is going on, world? I am yours truly, DJ Dark Kent, a.k.a. Kent King.
Yes, and I am Bree Woo, a.k.a. Bria.
Yeah, and I just surprised her with that because we don't normally say our names in the intro, but we gonna start though. It's brand new, you know what I'm saying? This is what we doing. New place,
Yes.
new episode,
New energy,
new vibes, new energy, same us.
Literally.
Okay, not really the same us. But anyway, welcome to the Business of Love podcast. This episode is one that we are not numbering because we stopped counting a couple episodes ago, but we will give you the title for this one.
Yes.
It's called
Curing the Curse.
A Cure for the Curse.
All right.
Cheers to the title. Let's go ahead and drink our mimosas. You know what I'm saying? Curing
That's
the curse.
your version.
Curing the curse, a cure for the curse. Same thing. Either way, what we are talking about today is the idea of generational curses. And we don't want to say that we are breaking generational curses. Not only is that too facetious, not specific enough, or just too oversaturated, but we actually wanted to come up with cures for the curse, right? Because when you have gratitude, some of these curses are certain things that you will realize are what make you you. A lot of the curses that we have, that we've been struggling with, fighting from, running from, whatever the case may be, a lot of times those are the things that make us unique individuals, that make us us. So the champion is won in the fight, not outside the ring.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? In order to be a champion, you got to be in the actual fight. You can't be a champion from outside the ring. So with that being said, we are going to start this with a little prerequisite.
Yes.
Right? The first prerequisite is that ain't none of us parents. Neither one of us got kids over here. Right? But someday we do hope to be blessed with the ability to have children. And with that being said, there's certain things that we want to make sure that we adopt, new methodologies, new ideologies that we adopt and bring into our family, our relationship, and the way that we raise our children. And there are certain things that we want to quote unquote break.
Yes.
Right? And those are the curses. But we don't want to call them breaking. We want to call them cures.
Yep.
So with that being said, because I've been yapping and yapping. Oh, do us a favor too, man. And a couple of things we got to say. I almost forgot this. First thing is, if you have a curse that you feel needs to be cured, if you have something that you specifically want us to talk about, do us a favor, leave it in the comment section on the YouTube page. We will be having a part 2 for this episode because there are some curses that we don't even know about or we didn't think about. And if you have something, if you have some feedback, you have something that you want us to talk about, do us a favor. You have to leave a comment on the YouTube page. The only people who we will be responding to or reading their comments or utilizing them are the comments that come from the YouTube page.
Yes, 100%. And that's important because we do get a lot of interaction on the social media platforms, except for YouTube. We see like a few comments here and there. So would love to see more engagement and really create conversations from the YouTube comments.
Definitely. And we go through a lot to put this whole thing together. I be setting up all the cameras and stuff. She be setting herself up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know y'all don't have smell-o-vision, but this woman went and put on perfume for y'all today. Okay? She been around me stinking, musty, farting, all of that.
But for y'all, I just spruce it up.
She went ahead and showered and put on perfume, okay? So if y'all appreciate this content, do us a favor, like, subscribe, share this with somebody who actually could use this or who might gain from it, because we do go through a lot to make sure that y'all can get this content. Like I said, she went and took a shower and put some perfume on, okay?
Extreme levels.
So y'all are getting a better smelling her than me, and y'all can't even smell her. So do me a favor, like, subscribe, and comment for us, because it does help us to gain a wider audience, to get our content out there, and just to be able to engage with y'all. And with that being said, let's get into today's episode.
Yes.
A cure for the curse. Like I said, I've been yapping, so baby, I'm going to let you start it off.
Okay.
What's your first curse that you want to cure?
The very first curse I want to cure is when it comes to financial literacy in our community. I think one of the things that we do not speak about enough, and again, there's no perfect parent. So this is something that I think our parents have learned over time through their own experiences, and something that since we know what we like and don't like and what we know and didn't really know previously about finances, we can share with our children. But as far as credit cards, I was always told not to apply, not to get a credit card. And that really followed me up until college when, of course, credit cards are thrown at you. You know, they know that you're young, vulnerable, not really sure what, interest rates are and things like that. So, of course, when I got my first credit card at 18, I maxed it. And it took me some time to really pay it off, get into a place where I understood what credit cards were meant to do and leverage them, something that you speak about often. It really
that luxury.
Yeah, it became one of those things where I became a little more smarter with the credit cards, and I didn't open a whole bunch, but I really opened a few and used them for what I really needed them for. So the cure in this case would be, let's talk to our kids about credit cards, credit, loans, all of these things that we are told not to apply for, not to get, things that I think we put a lot of fear into the community when it comes to these terms. People never want to hear loan or credit. Like, it just scares us so much. If we educate ourselves a bit more, I think that would take away the fear. What do you think?
I agree with you that people never want to hear the word loan unless it got some freeness attached to it. You know what I'm saying? But in the realm of finances and a curse that I feel like needs to be cured, I think the actual terminologies that we use when it comes to finances are something else that we need to kind of eradicate, right? Like the terminology broke.
Yes.
Right? Being broke, I think, is a term that we need to eradicate. And I think that that's a curse that needs to be cured because oftentimes I've seen it in my household. I've seen it in friends' households. I've seen it in other family members' households where, excuse me, I always
It's not an episode without a little gas.
I don't know. But anyway, I've seen it in a bunch of households where some people rely or relish on being broke.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've heard my mom say this, and this is no knock to her, but I've heard her say this phrase: sometimes it pays to be broke. And that to me is just an ideology that we need to eradicate because it creates more dependency on government subsidies.
Yep.
It creates more of this ideology that I can depend on someone else for help when it comes to financial leverage. And that to me is something that is just dangerously inhibiting us from being the best us that we could be, is because we are too lax, too lackadaisical, or too reliant upon some of these government subsidies or things that we could benefit from just because we want to, not because we need to, only because we think that being broke is okay and a part of life. And to me, being broke is one step closer to being broken.
Yep.
And that's something that, again, I just feel like we need to heal, we need to fix, and a curse that we need to cure, especially when it comes to finances and financial literacy.
I agree, especially because, like, it's this thing in the Black community, especially where it's like being broke is like a culture almost. Like, it's something that we've grown so accustomed to that, I don't know, like, we make jokes out of it and stuff, but it's just kind of crazy that we can identify with being broke way more than being, I don't want to say wealthy, but just comfortable. I really agree with that. Let's cure that, because it's not something that we should even want our kids to be like, yeah, we broke. Like, that's just,
The other term I want to break is balling on a budget.
Yeah.
Stop saying that we balling on a budget. Just say that you're making financially irresponsible decisions and you're proud of it. Stop saying you balling on a budget. There is no such thing as balling on a budget. Those two things are in direct contradiction to one another. So to be balling or on a budget, those are two totally different things. I remember, when I decided that, like, the way in which I was going to vacation, right? I didn't want to have a budget. I just wanted the vacation.
Yeah.
And I don't want to feel like I'm constricted to spending certain things. I want to make sure that I have it to do whatever it is with it that I want. And when you are balling on a budget, you are mentally constricting yourself to say, I can spend this money even though I can't afford to. And that's a very, very dangerous narrative that we run into all too often. And I just feel like some of these mantras, right? Like me and my business partner, we have a saying, right? Where we say no poor-minded mantras. You can't have a poor-minded mantra. And balling on a budget is a poor-minded mantra. And so that's another one of the things that I just feel like is a curse that needs to be cured. And it's not one that's been passed down from parents. I think that's one that's been accepted in the culture from friends and, circles and all of that shit, where it's just like, yo, stop saying that. Yeah. Stop it. Just say that you are proud to be making financially irresponsible decisions. Sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can say, you know what, this decision wasn't financially responsible, but I enjoyed it. And that's okay, but own that shit. Stop trying to fluff it and make it sound better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. One of my points or a curse that I want to cure would honestly be shifting gears a little bit. I know we spoke about children and potentially, at some point having children. So it's important to really be conscious of the things that we do now in a relationship. Apologizing is something that, I'm not going to lie, I've had a hard time with in relationships, because you always have this thing where you're like, I wasn't wrong. And just realizing how, unhealthy that is. I don't want to pass that down to my kids. So normalizing apologies to your kids, I think that should be number one. I don't really know how many times I've gotten an apology from my parents, but I do know that it wasn't often. It wasn't something that happened all the time, and it should have, because some things really just genuinely wasn't my fault. I think there's one scenario where I saw on Instagram, like I told you before, one of the influencers that I love, she apologized to her 6-year-old. And that was so cool to watch, because he didn't know that it was that big of a deal. He's like, okay, cool, whatever. But she accused him of taking something that he didn't take. So she made it a point to tell him, I wrongly accused you and I'm apologizing. Mommy makes mistakes too. So if, a grown woman can do that to a 6-year-old, it's like, why can't two grown people in a relationship, do that?
100%.
And then when you practice that every day, I think it becomes easier as you do have a family and all of that. It's not something that you have to make a big deal out of.
I agree completely. The other thing is too, right? I think we definitely need to normalize parental apologies, because more than just giving your child the ability to feel better about a situation, you're actually teaching them how to be comfortable with being incorrect, be comfortable with being wrong, and then to right your wrongs. And I think that that's something that our society specifically suffers from greatly, where we don't feel the need to right our wrongs. Oftentimes a wrong will happen and we will, we'll chalk it up to being like, because you spoke about your mom's or your parents apologizing to you or lack thereof, and I can just say that I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that my mom has apologized to me, right? And I don't have a problem apologizing, because I've learned how powerful that is when you want someone else to stop feeling something, right? When you have, even if you don't feel wrong, even if you don't feel like you've done something that was wrong, if you realize that an action of yours has caused someone to feel some type of way, to feel something, an apology actually sets the tone to bring people back down to zero, right? If I'm hurt by something, it's hard for me to hear you. I'm listening through a jaded lens, hurt ears. And so often, right, we, especially men, we jumble up our emotions and we will kind of hold some things in that will cause resentment, right? But I feel like resentment and revenge are right next door to each other. And as soon as resentment creeps in, a desire for revenge is often there too. And that oftentimes causes infidelities in relationships because people don't feel as secure in their relationship, right? If you can apologize to me and I know that my feelings are safe, that's somewhere that I want to be. That's somewhere that I trust now. That's somewhere that I find rare. That's somewhere that to me is a safe haven, because there's not a lot of places for people to put their emotions for them to feel safe. Whenever you put your emotions somewhere, it's always a level of vulnerability that's attached to it. But apologizing oftentimes helps other people feel safe and secure with putting their emotions somewhere. And so I think that we are doing ourselves a disservice by not practicing that notion. It's deeper than just trying to teach kids how to apologize. It's practicing a notion of apologizing to be comfortable with being wrong, to be comfortable with making mistakes. And I just feel like all too often we don't have a safe space for people in our community to be comfortable with making mistakes, which is why we always want to see our heroes get torn down. We love to see our heroes like make mistakes and fuck up and all of that shit. Like they say that you're, being a hero, you're lucky if you live long enough to see yourself become a villain, right? Because ultimately people always want to see you come down. And I feel like largely a reason for that is because we don't have enough space to make mistakes. Right, we live in a world of cancel culture.
Yep, cancel culture.
Where people can actually make a mistake and then all of a sudden you're canceled, like as if that's some power with whatever. But I do feel like that is a very big downstep in our society for us to have lack of ability to apologize to one another or lack of ability to actually make a mistake and grow from it. So I think that, parental apologies will help to ingratiate into children the ability to make a mistake, the comfortability to right your wrongs, and the ability to communicate better to someone else and hold someone else's feelings and emotions with respect and give them a safe space to be there. I think apologizing from parents is a crucial step that we often miss the importance of. So I agree with you on that one.
That's awesome. And that actually reminds me, like, we just saw a documentary with Mike Tyson. And towards the end, it was just so interesting to see how he literally spent, I think, maybe 3 to 5 years apologizing to everybody that he hurt or that he wronged. And because of, rough upbringing, rough childhood, he didn't have a lot of safe spaces to do anything, really. 100%. So being angry for all those years, he ended up becoming, in his 40s, 50s, apologizing to people. And that was just like a thing. And I'm like, it takes a lot of strength to do that. Especially people that you had beef with probably like 20 years ago. And hell, they probably forgot what y'all, fell out over. But yes, that is very crucial. As far as unlearning things, I want to definitely contribute this. I think that it's important for us to unlearn toxic behaviors now, because it can get passed on to, children, grandchildren. I read something online that said trauma is actually passed through DNA. Wow. And so with that being said, the psychologist was basically speaking on why it's important to heal before you have children. So I think, and not to overuse normalizing, but I think it's so important to normalize therapy before you have children. Wow. And to unlearn a lot of the toxic defensive mechanisms that, you've grown up with, because your kids, they can't get that. Like they aren't in the same environment that you was in. Facts. So, giving them all of these like defensive mechanisms or trauma responses, it's not going to do them any good. So that's something that I think is super important to do.
I agree 100% with that. And I think that that's actually powerful, because you can't, they always try to say like, oh, you can't pour from an empty cup. I think that I think that the analogy is a little bit better when it's like, you can't pour from a cracked cup. Yep. Because it starts to leak out all over the place, and sometimes you don't know the mess that you're making. All right. So you need to make sure that your cup is whole and not cracked. And oftentimes when it comes to, if you want to use the analogy of like glass, sometimes you can't see the crack. Sometimes it's a hairline fracture or whatever the case may be. And I'm saying all that to say that oftentimes toxicity is unknown. Yep. Your toxicity level or the things that you may do that are toxic are unknown to you, because you're just being, you are just existing. And oftentimes going to speak to someone, right, therapy wise, is like a reflection. It's like a mirror of seeing your toxicity level. And then it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to change it. But you need to go sit down with somebody to actually see that mirror from a different perspective. Because first off, you have to want that. Can't be forced upon you. You have to be open-minded to say, okay, this is what could be wrong. Something maybe I'm perfect. I don't know. But hey, let me just go get this thing checked out, or this brain of mine, right? I feel like the thing when it comes to therapy, it's so funny to me that people won't drive their car more than 3,000 miles without getting an oil change. But some people will have more than 3,000 thoughts in a day and won't get their mind checked up. Yeah. Like, to me, it's kind of just like how you love your car. You practice maintenance on your car, but not on your body, on your person. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I just feel like we definitely do need to normalize and accept the importance of therapy. Yeah. And I agree wholeheartedly. Is it on me? Is my turn? Yeah. Now? Okay, cool. So I think the next curse that I want to cure is a parental curse. And like we said, there's no perfect parents. But I came from this generation where my mom used to like to tell me, I'm not one of your little friends. And
I think we all heard that at least like once in our life.
And so here's the danger with that. And here's where, to me, the problem resides, is like my mom used to tell me that all the time. And then when I went away to college, right, and I was with my friends, she was always wondering why I wasn't calling, why I wasn't checking in, why I wasn't doing well, because I'm with my friends. Yeah. Like, if you was my friend, I would call you and check on you. That's something that I do to my friends. You told me you ain't one of my little friends, so why would I treat you like I treat my friends? And I feel like that notion and narrative is so dangerous, because parents also want to be like, you can tell me anything. You can tell me anything. Shut the hell up. No, I can't. You told me I'm not one of your friends. So don't tell me that I have the space to come to you and talk to you and then tell me who you are not to me, right? And I think that, again, that notion is dangerous, because I want to be able to be friends with my children, because I do want them to trust me in order to be able to help guide them. There are certain things that, especially as a man, right, we will go to our friends before we go to our parents, and oftentimes get some really bad advice and make really bad decisions because we went to our friends because we didn't have a friend in a parental structure. Yeah. Oftentimes, kids will tend to love an aunt or a grandma or something like that, because the aunt or grandma or whoever never made the statement that I ain't one of your little friends.
Right. And they still have that like maternal, relationship bond thing going
100%. And I just feel like that terminology is something that needs to, again, be eradicated. It's a curse that needs to be cured. We need to stop telling children that I am not one of your friends.
I agree. Wow. And it's funny because growing up, of course, you hear that and you don't really you don't take it to heart. But then as you get older, it's like, now you kind of want to be my friend, because you notice that you and your parents start to have more in common when you reach a certain age. And it's funny because I flip it back on my parents. I'm like, wait, but we not friends. So, and, and it's like a joke now, but I agree. That language can be toxic sometimes, because it's like when you get to college or you get to that, the 20-year-old mark, it's like, damn, I really wish I kind of had that relationship with my parents, because this is something that I kind of want to know. What were you doing at 25? Facts. Like, how did you handle this situation? Facts. Wow. So that resonated with me.
Yeah. I think that is probably one of the biggest curses that I feel needs to be cured, because parents probably don't realize the damage that they are doing by saying that. Because certain things that you will say to your children will stick with them, right? And will make them think of things later on. Like, I will not lie to you. That is something that is stuck with me. That is something that I don't joke about it with my mom. Like, we aren't there with it yet. I still have resentment towards it. It still hurts to even know that I was told that. You know what I'm saying? Especially being an only child and then coming from a single family, a single parent household, right? It's like, well, damn, if you ain't my friend,
exactly,
who the hell is?
It's
like,
kind of isolating.
Yeah, it's just me and you and this motherfucker. What you talking about? Like, shit. Like, what are we, cellmates at this point? Like, what you mean? This shit didn't make no sense to me. So that's just one of those notions that I just feel like we got to do away with that. And if I can double back to the financial curse that we need to cure, I think that this notion of getting a good, secure job, right? I think if there's one thing that we've learned from 2020, from the Rona and from all of this, there ain't no such thing as job security.
Yeah, nothing secure.
There is nothing secure about having a job, right? So I think that notion of trying to instill people to go and work for someone else is wrong, only because it doesn't promote happiness. If you are doing something that you love to do and you are working for someone else, can't nobody tell you how to be better. Can't nobody tell you what to do, where to change, where to go, nothing. Because the idea, the goal, the end result, the desire for life is happiness. And if you are doing something every day that takes away from that happiness, no matter how good, how secure, how, wealthy or whatever it is, you are wasting your life because you are not being happy. The idea of life is to have more happy days than you have sad or bad days. And if you are consistently going to a place that continuously causes you to have sad or bad days, you are wasting your life. So there is no such thing, or that even notion of a secure is a waste of time. No such thing as a secure job. And that notion of getting one is a waste of a life, and we have to stop saying that. We have to stop instilling that. Now, I know everybody's not an entrepreneur. I'm not saying we need to tell all of these kids to build a business and do this and do that, but the idea needs to be happiness.
Yes.
The idea needs to be happiness, because so many people, you and I have spoken about some of our close personal friends or family members who we see go through life and they don't have happiness. They're running from place to place, and their parental figures are the people who, are wanting better for them, are all about, yo, you need to get a good job. You need to get a good job. You need to get, and it's like, yo, at what point are you concerned about the emotional intelligence, or, like the actual internal person and what they are dealing with, going through, or what they actually want for or from their life?
And that circles back to the mental health aspect. We do not take care of our mental health enough, because, again, the narrative is we're pushing good job, good education, get all these good, secure, quote unquote, stable things in your life and you'll be fine. But you see a lot of people are essentially unhappy after getting all of these, checking all the boxes of what is supposed to make you happy and stable. That kind of leads to one of my points, which was, let's not talk about the person, let's talk to them. I notice a lot of times in families, we have that one cousin or friend or whoever, family friend, that is having a rough time. And we just do not talk to them or assist them. We talk about them. And I'm like, why are we doing that when we know this person is struggling? Let's not keep gossip as a thing. Like, we really got to start helping people. Yeah, that's the point. Like, I don't really know how much deeper to dive into that, but I know it's something that I want to cure, because I think a lot of families are bonded by gossip. So that's something I would love to change for the next generation. Is that something that you've seen in your family dynamics?
Of people being bonded by gossip? Hell yeah. Shit, gossip is glue. What you talking about? What? Like, gossip hold better than that wig glue that y'all be using. That be holding on. No, I do. I feel like the statement that you made earlier, right? It's a lot easier to talk about people than it is to talk to people. I think that that's definitely something that I see all the time, and a curse that needs to be cured, because a lot of people don't have emotional intelligence. And in order to talk to someone about having an issue, it takes emotional intelligence. It takes for you to be able to put down how you feel in order to communicate best to the person who you're speaking to, right? And that's often difficult because we communicate from a place of emotion. I think you learned that yesterday with your wand waving on the TV. This woman, we were watching a whole bunch of movies yesterday, and every time she went to start talking, she was waving her hand, and our remote has like a magic cursor feature on it. So I'm trying to watch what she's talking about, and it's this thing just waving. So yes, I definitely think
I need one of those glued to my hand so I can like monitor how much I move and talk emotionally.
Yes, so I do think that emotional intelligence is something that we need to hone in on, and it doubles back to what you were saying about therapy, mental health, and whatnot. But I definitely think that in families, yes, I've seen more people talk about people than I've seen talk to people, and I do think that that's a familial curse that needs to be broken because it oftentimes spills into your other communications, right? Like with friends or business or whatever, and that's just not the best way to have productivity. So for me, I think that again, that's a waste of time. For me to talk about someone else is a waste of time if I could talk to that person. If I've already tried to talk to that person and they ain't trying to listen, then okay, cool. I'm gonna talk to somebody else and let you know how I feel about this motherfucker. But I am going to try to talk to the person as often as I can. So yes, I see that often. Yes, I agree with that. Y'all know me. I'm all about money and finances. So my next curse is another one about money and finances. And it's about generational wealth.
Oh, wow.
So I have two curses that need to be cured about generational wealth. Number one, stop saying the term generational wealth if you don't have life insurance. Please stop telling me you are trying to create generational wealth without a life insurance plan. Because the moment that you leave this earth, no matter how much generational wealth you have actually curated, there is going to be a cost for you leaving. There is going to be an expense associated with you leaving. And rather than for you to have your family pay for that expense, you could leverage that.
Or have a fish fry to pay for it.
Yeah, oh my God. I'm not buying no more plates. I'm not doing no more GoFundMes. I'm sorry. I'm about to start selling life insurance and not taking a commission. Like, that's how I'm about to start moving. Like, do not come to me talking about some fish fry or some GoFundMes, because life insurance is fairly cheap. It is fairly inexpensive. And more than that, it is the best source of leverage that you could have on a set it and forget it plan. Besides investing in the stock market, right? But the life insurance thing, like, that's how you create generational wealth, because when I leave, I know for a fact that if nothing else, my family is going to be awarded at least 3 checks of $100,000. At the very least, my family is going, and that's the very, very least, right? Like, that is exactly the minimum that I could actually make from, I don't want to say passing away. From my life insurance plan. It's $300,000. And I just feel like we can't continue to say that we want to create generational wealth when we are ourselves taking away from it. Because anytime that someone above me who doesn't have a life insurance plan passes away, I have to now be financially responsible for that. The other thing that I want to talk about with when it comes to generational wealth is we got to stop hustling backwards. Right? So often there's a notion of parents putting in children what they want their children to buy for them. The notion has been on me since I was 5 years old that I was going to buy my mom a house. Right? That's been a pressure that's been placed upon me that I didn't even really know any better than to accept until I realized that, wait a minute, we're hustling backwards, because my first house that I purchased has to be for somebody else. It's not a rental property. It's not a flip. It's me putting all of my finances into housing someone else. Now, granted, that sounds, I guess, uncharismatic or, without love. Like it sounds like it's being said without love because I keep saying someone else, and it is my mom. But here's the thing. Real estate is meant to be handed down, not up. And so oftentimes we are doing certain things and buying certain assets and not leveraging them properly. And I just feel like, again, that is a step down. That is hustling backwards. That is the way in which we oftentimes tell our children that we want them to provide for us. And oftentimes it's out of a place of innocence or because, oh, I've been providing for you for your whole life. I done paid for this and paid for that. I didn't ask to be here.
Right.
That's first off, okay? That's
Period.
first off. Second of all, why the fuck you trying to get revenge from your kids? Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. And that's another curse that needs to be cured. I'm sorry, I'm going on a run.
No, look. I'm sure everybody watching is going to be like, preach.
Yeah. But the other curse that needs to be cured is stop trying to get revenge from your children. I've been told all too often, like, oh, you done had yours. It's mommy's time now. It's time for me to worry about me. And it's like, ain't nobody tell you to stop worrying about you. Yeah. Nobody came into this life and said, hey, it's all about me now. I didn't come in here saying that. You made that notion. You made the decision to have me. You brought me into this world. And now you are trying to take it out on me that I'm here.
Yeah.
You are telling me that I owe you something or that I've inconvenienced you. And that is so unfair and a huge curse that needs to be cured.
And it's frustrating because there are so many opportunities, I think, for people to really sit down. And we're not parents, so I can't judge how anybody, came about. But for the most part, I think it's pretty clear. If you want to have a kid right now, make that happen or put in the proper, what's the word?
Due diligence.
Or just be like, listen, I'm
Get
at the
butt
point
naked
now.
And sheet wrestle.
Listen.
Sorry. I'm sorry. We was having a good conversation and then I had to come in with the nonsense. I apologize.
Long story short, just make it clear that, listen, I want to have a child right now. Let me make sure all of my ducks are in a row. And I'm sure that it's not going to be perfect, but as long as the majority is good, that's all that matters. As usual, we try to tie it to business. Or show gratitude in that case. What would you say are some of the things you're grateful for?
I think that number one, the things that I wasn't taught in life have caused me to have a desire to learn them, and that desire to learn has turned into a desire for mastery. For example, you spoke about credit, right? Like my mom has never had a credit card. She didn't believe in credit. She said, if I ain't got cash, I ain't paying for it or whatever. That was her notion. And so I never knew about credit, right? And like you, got my first credit card, maxed it out, did all the stupid stuff. Had to get back on track. But I learned so much, not from that mistake, but from the lack of knowledge because I couldn't go ask someone right in my home. So I had to do my due diligence and try to go find all of the information on my own. And that caused me to go down a rabbit hole, right? And then to just have this desire for more and more and more knowledge. So I'm super appreciative for the things that my mom didn't teach me, for the things that she may not have instilled in me, simply because the one thing that she did instill in me is the ability to go find knowledge on my own.
Awesome.
That's my gratitude.
Really awesome. Okay.
I thought it was your turn.
No, that's cool. I would say for me, my gratitude is just the fact that my parents, they weren't able to experience higher education. That's something they always pushed. And of course, it's something I wanted personally because I love to learn. And that's something that I was able to do. So not only getting my bachelor's, but my master's and really just understanding the importance of education. Right now, I mean, people say that, your degree is not really worth much, but I mean, I disagree. I think depending on what you utilize it for and what you go back to school for, it can be so beneficial, not just on paper, but for yourself. There's so many things that I've learned about my field that I did not or would not have known had I didn't go back for another degree. So I'm grateful for my parents for that, and very grateful for my, just drive and ability to keep going.
Yeah, I think for me, another thing I'm grateful for is my mom's hustler spirit, right? Like a lot of people look at me and they're like, yo, how do you do this, that? You got this business, that business, a podcast, you're doing this, you're doing that. I'm a hustler, and that's something that I don't know any other way to be, right? And I got that from my mom, from someone who wasn't blessed to have everything, the finer things in life. So she understood the ability for hard work in order to get it. She understood the ability to be masterful at multiple different skills to be able to leverage all of those things, right? Like my mom would be cooking in the house, selling dinners, and babysitting kids at the same time. And it's like, damn, you got 2 streams of income coming in on the weekend just for some extra cash. Like, damn, while I'm outside just shooting the basketball all damn day. Like, no, I need to learn how to hustle. I need to find 2 skills that I love to do that I can then turn into financial leverage. And I can truly say that I got that from my mom. I've watched her run a business out of her home and things like that. And so it's important for me to give her her flowers, because there are some curses that I do need to cure. But again, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for some of those curses, but largely for all of the blessings.
Yeah.
And so, that hustler spirit and that hustler mentality, I got that straight from my mother, 100%. And so that's another little piece of gratitude that I definitely got to give to her.
That's dope. So listen, I mean, I think we really did a great job at just going through all the different cures that we want to provide. But again, like you said, if you guys have some cures that you want to give us, or if you want to just talk in the comments about curses that you've had throughout your childhood, adulthood, whatever, please share them, because again, this will be a part 2. Who knows? It might be a part 3. This conversation, I feel like, is endless.
Definitely. You know what's crazy? I want to jump on one more curse that needs to be cured, because this one, you get it a lot from parents, but we also get it a lot from you guys, some of our viewers, right? What this curse is, stop asking people when they're going to get married or when they're going to have a baby. That is extremely insensitive to people, because y'all don't know, we could be broke. We got to stop using that word. I did say that, right? That's the curse. See? The curse, we're trying to cure it.
We could be in between blessings.
We could be making financially irresponsible decisions right now.
Yep.
That don't allow us to, have the wedding that we want. And therefore, anytime you ask it, it could be pressure. Now, I'm being facetious when it comes to us, but there are often times that we speak to friends and family members and people like that who are like, I'm so tired of people asking me when I'm going to get married. I'm so tired of people asking me when I'm going to have a baby. These aren't things that we necessarily mind per se, but we've understood the notion that it creates for other people.
Yep.
The uncomfortability that you can instill in someone else by you trying to impose your desires, right, on them and their relationship. Like, just because you want to go to a wedding, stop asking people when they're going to get married.
Right.
Stop doing that.
Like, watch one on YouTube or something.
Here's the better one. I'm about to kill him with this one. Here's the better one. Don't you dare ask nobody when they gonna get married if you ain't got a ring on your finger.
Yeah.
Stop it. Because in the Black community, it happens all too often. Too often. I feel like everybody who asks me when we gonna get married ain't got a ring on their finger.
So you gonna ask when they getting married?
Oh, I'm gonna definitely start asking that. I'm about to just start responding like the same day you do. Our wedding on the same day. Let me know who planning yours. So she can plan ours
Pass
too.
them over.
Pass them on over. You know what? When you say I do, we gonna be there to be like us too. Like, that's how we gonna get married. Like, stop asking that question, especially the one about the baby, right? Because you don't know anybody's health conditions.
Yes.
You don't know whether or not they even want kids. And you are, again, imposing your own beliefs, wishes, and desires upon other people's relationship.
Yeah.
Which is toxic in and of itself, but a relationship is already stressful enough. I got this woman asking me 30,000 questions a day. I don't need y'all adding on to it about the wedding and whatnot. So please, let's cure that curse expeditiously. And that's not something that I'm uncomfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, we laugh at it,
Right.
honestly, because this is something that we both experience. Like, sometimes separately, people will ask me, like, oh, when's this, when's that? And they'll ask him. And it's typically, like, from what I notice, older folks. But, yeah, again,
So basically, if you ask that question, use an old head.
no,
That's what she said. That's what she said.
It's
She said
something that we laugh at, but I do understand how uncomfortable it is for, like you said, some friends and people that we know. There's someone personally that I know who literally is in the midst of planning these events, and people keep asking them, yet they're so private. They're like, damn, you know, you're asking me about something that I'm already doing. And that's the part that's annoying. So,
yeah, and you got to give people the ability to have some privacy in their relationship, man. I think that I know that was only supposed to be one curse, but let's just tackle this.
yeah.
Stop living vicariously through other people. My happiness is my own to be lived and enjoyed, and not yours to be filtered with your desires.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I can take a perfect picture of me and my happiness, and someone else can come and put their own filter on it, and by trying to live vicariously through what we have going on. That is dangerous. It is extremely dangerous to put your happiness or the responsibility of your happiness into someone else's life. It is also very inconsiderate of the pressure that you are putting upon someone else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, now there's certain things that I'm going to do to try to make my parents happy. I'm not doing this to make myself happy. I'm doing this because I want my parents to be happy, and this is what's going to make them happy. Them seeing me like this.
Yeah.
Not me being happy and having what I want. And that, to me, is I don't even know if that's a curse that we need to cure, or just, like, I don't even know how to phrase that, because it's a mentality that needs to be broken.
And that's the hard part. That's the hard part, changing or trying to fix certain mentalities when people have been used to thinking like this forever.
100%. If you don't have no more topics, I'ma stop, because we got a little dog that y'all might not be able to hear. He going crazy.
That's our child.
Yeah.
We keep asking, where's
I'm
the
sorry,
where's the
Boogie.
child?
I apologize, Boogie. See, we normalizing parental apologies.
Yes.
So sorry, Boogie. I apologize for keeping you in there. I'm gonna go get him. You keep.
I'll wrap it up. I feel like this has been such an amazing episode. And again, please, if you haven't already, subscribe, comment. We want to have some conversations, because this will probably end up being a series within itself. And then, of course, make sure you like the video. If this has been helpful for you, we have a guest.
Our first guest. Our first TBOL guest. All right, keep going. I was listening.
Yes, we have our fur child. Again, like I said, please, if you haven't already, subscribe, like the video if it has helped you, and please comment so that way we can get some conversations going, and then look out for more.
Yeah, that's it. I appreciate you for closing us out. We had a talk yesterday about you really being my partner, and not just my girl, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yes,
because you can help me in ways that I need it, because this little one right here, he be doing a lot, y'all.
Y'all just don't know. We're going to have to do a video solely on him one day.
But if that's it, then that's it. We done. We out.
Yes, we out. Thank you guys so much.
It's the business of love, and we appreciate you guys.
Out.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Buddy.